Introduction to Mass Communications, Chapter 3, Mass Communications and its Features. Definitions. According to Mehta, mass communication is concerned with transmitting information, thoughts, opinions, entertainment, etc. at a time to a large number of heterogeneous audiences. According to Emery and others, mass communication is a process of sending a message, thought, and attitude through some media at a time to a large number of heterogeneous audiences. According to R. P. Mollo, mass communication is a process through which an individual, organization, or government communicates with the general people. Sidney Head, 1976, suggests that mass communication contains at least the following 5 things: large audience, similar audience exists, some form of message reproduction, quick distribution of message, the low unit cost to the customers. The flow of mass communication. The flow of mass communication starts with the sender, who encodes their message and transmits it through a medium or channel, a macro-level broadcast medium, as we discussed in Lecture 2, to receivers, perhaps a targeted mass demographic indicated by receiver A and/or receiver B, or the general people. Features or characteristics of mass communication. The term mass communication refers to communication between huge groups of individuals. Mass communication refers to the procedures through which a message is broadly disseminated among people who are separated from the source. The following are the main characteristics of mass communication. Specific objectives. Every communication has a clear goal in mind. There is no communication if there are no aims. Mass communication has a specific goal that is determined by the communication's topic matter. Common messages. Mass communication transmits or conveys the same messages to large, diversified, and the dispersed audience at the same time. Source of message. The sources of mass communication messages generally are a person or group operating within an organizational setting. Examples of these sources are news reporters, television producers, magazine editors, etc. Messages are sophisticated and complex. Messages in mass communication are sophisticated and complicated. While the message in interpersonal communication might be as basic as a few words or a few sentences, the message in mass media can be fairly complex. A news story, novel, a movie, a television program, a magazine article, a newspaper column, a music video, and a billboard advertisement are all examples of mass media messages. Limited information. These audiences are drawn together by a common interest in the specific message delivered by mass media. In most cases, message sources have just a limited understanding of their target consumers. Mass medium. Radio, television, internet, etc. are examples of mass media that are regarded as mass media because they can reach out to a vast audience at a time. Impersonality. Messages of mass communication have remained impersonal since there is no personal touch of a medium. The impersonality of mass communication is informed by the need to reach large, diverse, and scattered audiences almost at the same time. Portability and mobility. Portability has to do with the fact that messages of mass communication are handy and that the medium through which the messages are passing could be carried from one place to another at any geographical location. Universality. This refers to the extensiveness or commonness of a medium and the acceptability of messages. A person does not need to be literate or educated in a particular language before listening to a radio program or watch a television program in that native language. Permanency. This refers to the period for which a medium can hold its message, thereby making the message reviewable. A reader of a book, newspapers, and magazines can read and reread and store it for a long term. A large number of audiences. In mass communication, information reaches a vast number of heterogeneous audiences. The audiences of mass communication exceed millions after millions. Heterogeneous and scattered audiences. The audiences of mass communication are not only large, but also heterogeneous and diverse type. They are made up of groups of people with dissimilar backgrounds, demographics, and socio-political characteristics. Personally unknown audiences. The audiences of mass communication are personally unknown to the communicator because of the audience's dissimilar backgrounds, demographics, and socio-political characteristics. Variety of information channels. Individuals reading newspapers, watching a film in a theater, listening to the radio, or watching a television are situations where the audience is large, heterogeneous, and anonymous in character and physically separated from the communicator, both in terms of space and time. Cover vast boundaries. The audiences of mass communication are spread over a wide geographic area. Communication is mostly one way. Mass communication is one of many forms of communication whereby products are mass-produced and disseminated to a great number of audiences. Delayed feedback. Feedback in mass media is slow, and weak message flow typically is one way from source to receiver. Traditionally, feedback has been minimal and generally delayed. A newspaper reader could write a letter to the editor, but it remains limited and delayed. Use of modern technological media. Channels of mass communication use modern technology. Radio involves tape machines, microphones, and devices that digitize sound waves, transmitters that disseminate them, and receiving units that decode the sound waves and render them back into audio form, approximating the original. Rapid and continuous dissemination. In mass communication, information rapidly reaches and continuously disseminates to a large and vast number of heterogeneous audiences. Noise. Like other forms of mediated communication, noise exists in the mass context. Noise may be semantic, environmental, or mechanical. This concludes Lecture 3. Please join us for Lecture 4 as we explore the functions of mass communications, the purposes for which it is used, demonstrating its deep relevance to society.